Test. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. I'm Spike.
I'm Kel.
And I'm Amanda.
And I have a mug cake.
Ooh.
I made a little brownie in a mug, and I just couldn't be more fucking pleased with myself.
I have ice cream.
Oh, that's good too. Oh my god, ice cream would be really good on a mug brownie.
Before this episode starts, I'm gonna be the asshole.
Oh.
And I'm just gonna say, for future reference, we really love talking to this chat. It's really nice. But if people do the friendly bullying thing to us, they're going to get ignored, and possibly we're just gonna start ignoring the chat. Just saying, you've been forewarned, no one can be surprised.
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily about y'all. It's just a thing we've been discussing about social media in general lately.
Yeah.
And like we all agree, not a fan. But there's like it's so rough because maybe it's I don't know, it's like all right, here's the thing. I know people who are like watching and listening and follow my ass on Twitter and know I like to get the occasional dunk off. Like there is probably an assumption that's like, no, Spike is totally cool with like fucking hanging someone out to dry in front of all of her followers. But that's not necessarily true. It's like if you decide you're gonna roll up at me fucking rude, yes, gloves come off. But if you are doing this sort of overfamiliar playful rudeness thing,
I'm swapping headphones
genuinely
real quick.
feel bad because I am perfectly aware of like parasocial stuff. And
there we go.
I know how you're interpreting it. And I know I'm sitting there on the internet, cursing and making stupid jokes and shit posting and being weird. And you kind of want to be part of that. I'm not even saying this is like a conscious thing people do. Like you want to be part of that. So you like try to get in on it. But sometimes that can come off bad if like I don't fucking know you. And it gets awkward for me because I don't know how to tell you you don't know me like that, you know?
I just think that I just always remember that Brian David Gilbert thing where he had a mustache and he goes, "I'm not your friend and you have no control over my body."
Yeah, I remember that when he changed up his look.
Yeah.
I think for me it's more of a if I can't like picture somebody's voice in my head when they're like goofing with me, it's really hard for like my default assumption every single time is I made someone mad and they don't like me. I just can't I can't default to so they're probably playing with me. I immediately cower.
Yeah, my default
what did I do wrong?
Too.
My default assumption is that I hate you and go away.
we are the spectrum of reactions from fuck you to what was Spike's?
It's like I can't be shitty to you. Like all right, here's the thing. Here's the thing that happens.
Okay, it's from I don't like you to I want to bully you to you scare me. There, that's the spectrum.
Yeah, like here's the thing that happened. And I'm sure if you like go on Twitter and go digging through my history, you can find it if you look hard enough. There's a thing that happened years ago where I was tweeting about some, I think, BLM stuff, and some random fucking bitch quote tweeted me, and I quote, "Black people need to shut the hell up." And I saw that, and I'm like, "Oh, you want the smoke?" And I screenshotted the tweet. And I quoted the tweet so people could see, yes, the tweet really happened. And here's what it was in case she deletes it. And I said something to the effect of, "Look at this fucking bitch." And my entire follower count, like, there was so much fire in that Twitter thread. Her Twitter account to this day is not there. Her parents' Facebook pages to this day are not there.
Oh no. Oh no.
Facebook page is not there.
Yeah, I missed this entirely. Whoa.
Yeah, and when I like retweeted her, that's kind of like all I did because that is when the internet detective shit started happening. Going, "Hey, at so and so, is this your mom? Does she know you talk like this?" And she worked for like an insurance company. And I tweeted, "Hey, so is this the kind of treatment I can expect? Because you people send me shit all the time to switch to your insurance company.
My God, the
This is
power you wield.
And the thing is, that experience actually was very educational for me because that had never happened to me before. Something like that had never happened to me before, where I had, and I think I say this without hyperbole, utterly fucking crushed someone without actually intending to do so. I'm a big believer in the power of public shaming as a behavioral corrective. Like that, the whole sort of like Karen phenomenon. I don't think they're necessarily sorry. I don't think they changed their views, but they won't do it again. You know, that's kind of the results of what we're dealing with now. The public shaming is behavioral corrective. But I had never just seen someone squashed like a fucking bug over the course of maybe an hour and a half that way. They
Jeez
were
Louise.
obliterated. And believe me when I tell you, I did not know I could do that. Like, it came as a big surprise to me. I'm not upset it happened. I think she fucking deserved it. I think she won't do it again. So it had its corrective intent. But that is a thing I think about these days. Whenever I'm tweeting or retweeting or, you know, quote tweeting or taking screenshots of people's tweets, like just that experience informs the decisions I make. And I know this is kind of like, I have like nearly 70K followers at this point. So that's
Brag,
like
brag, brag.
not a
Brag,
not,
brag, brag.
not a lot compared to a lot of people. And it is a lot
Brag.
compared to other people. I'm very much middling. But even middling me can
Then what am
do something.
I?
You are also middling. I think we're all middling. Like, we're never going to be Rihanna, you know? We're never going to
only
duh.
one person on this call has 70K followers, Spike.
Oh? Oh, right, me.
Without looking, how many... Spike! Without looking, how many do I have?
I thought you had something like 28. What? How many?
10,000.
That's not bad.
It's not bad, but like...
How many
it's not...
followers do you think I have, Spike?
Since you don't tweet... you come in here like every fucking day and you're like, God, you know what I hate more than anything? Social media.
Social media. Yeah.
I'm gonna say you have 4,500.
That's pretty close.
Oh. So what is it?
I'd have to pull up my phone and look.
Oh, okay.
I don't have Twitter on my computer anymore.
Yeah, it's probably a good move, honestly.
Here, I'll go look. I will look. Here I go. It's 4,157.
Oh, I was really close. I went over. I would have lost on Price is Right, but I was still close. But yeah.
The only place it really matters.
I know. I would have gotten the dun 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 dun. Whoa.
That's the noise.
But yeah, it's there is.
By the way, audience, you failed me last time. I listened back the last episode to check some stuff. My audio was way louder than everyone else's.
Amanda, I don't know where you get this shit. You sound fine.
No, my audio genuinely was way louder than y'all's, like, technically.
I did not notice. I'm sorry. I went back and listened to a couple minutes.
No, it's
myself,
distinct.
Oh, okay.
I overwhelm. Shame on you, audience. Shame.
It's all your fault.
Shame. For not being my assistant tech advisors. How dare you?
Yeah. Remember, everyone, like, the way we are listening to it doesn't sound the way you're listening to it. So
it also doesn't help since I'm the host. My audio comes directly from my microphone. Spike and Kel's audio comes through Discord. So they have good microphones, but they get a little scooch of compression on theirs. And then it gets the YouTube compression.
Okay, I'm about to be obnoxious and unprofessional on the air. I'm going to open my Coke.
I opened my Diet Dr. Pepper before the show.
Yeah. I finished my mug cake. It is now time for a Diet Coke.
That's why Amanda's a pro and Spike isn't.
Yeah.
Damn tootin'. My Coke is overflowing.
Revenge. For what? I don't know.
Oh, God. But yeah,
a style thing.
Like
I hate social media.
You do.
It's horrible.
Like, that is a person. Like, if you were a sim, that would be one of your
I'm
traits.
still louder. Here, let me adjust it.
Oh, God.
No, it's important
like,
that I don't drown y'all out. It's an audio mixing thing.
It's also, it's basically, thinking of what to post on social media exhausts me, like, the
Wow.
act of it. So it's not even, like, looking at social media that I hate, it's just, like, I have to think of something to say on social media, and if I am not
Wow.
posting on social media, then when the people won't be there when I want to promote social media things. I hate this. I hate it. I feel like
Burning
I'm
passion.
getting a
Yeah.
lot more out of doing Twitch streams because I usually have a co-host and can talk to them. So like that takes the pressure off of trying to think of something. It also uh I it's also like it's spontaneous, and then it doesn't get saved for all eternity unless it's a show. Like my Twitch streams, I don't save
Oh, my
them.
Twitter doesn't get saved for all eternity.
Yeah, I noticed.
Oh, yeah.
My tweets get deleted whenever they're over 3 months old automatically.
Oh, that's
I have
interesting.
a thing that automatically deletes them after a year.
Oh.
I had to do 3 months because I tweet so damn much.
Oh, you tweet so damn much, huh?
Yes, I do. You might notice though that I do tweet less than I used to because I always said when I hit 10,000 followers, I'm changing my behavior. And I've done that, and I do tweet considerably less. And I have in my head, if I ever hit 20,000, that is the new goal post
This is
for
kind of
changing my
fascinating.
behavior online.
This is kind of fascinating because like we've had discussions about this, about noticing your followers and your follower counts and just going, oh, maybe I should, fucking dial it back a little bit. But I always come to the conclusion, like every once in a while something will happen on Twitter, and by I mean something happens, I will casually, I don't make it like a regular thing, but I will casually check my new follows, and there'll be someone in there, and I'll be like, holy fuck. And I will have this mini panic where I'm all like, okay, now I have to be professional. Now I have to be an adult because, this person it could be a lot of things. It could be a band I really like. It could be a performer I really respect. It could be a
be that
person.
you don't want Lana Wachowski to know that you hate her masterpiece, Jupiter Ascending, because you're wrong about movies.
No, honestly, here's the thing though, everybody. If you want to navigate to Lana Wachowski's Twitter, I'll bet you $1 million she's following like half of comics because she is about that. She is buds with the people over at what are they called? Silver Sprocket, who are like
Ooh,
friends of
nice.
Iron Circus. Oh yeah. She shows up to their things because Silver Sprocket is a storefront as well as a publisher and a gallery. It's like a whole.
It's rad as hell.
It's yeah. Oh, I fucking love Silver Sprocket. They're like a whole thing. And when they have events, Lana has shown up at least once. Like Lana is about that life. So I am not special by being followed by Lana.
I'm
But
just saying that you don't want her to know that you hate the wonderful movie Jupiter Ascending.
I respect Lana enough to believe.
I had to put like guidelines down for myself because I used to think I was an introvert, but I realized a few years ago, oh no, I am an extrovert with anxiety.
Oh my god. Ryan Estrada is in the chat, everybody.
Yeah, I've been ignoring him this whole time.
Ryan is published by Iron Circus as well as other publishers. Probably best known for co-authoring Banned Book Club, but he also does student ambassador for us, and he's got another title
I
coming
helped
out
color that book.
Yeah, soonish, called Occulted, which is another memoir he's assisting in, which is about being raised in a doomsday cult and escaping the influence of the cult leader through the power of reading. So that's going to be fucking fun to publish. I can't wait. And Ryan, also some deep lore. He is behind the Twitter account for exposure.text. It is nothing more and nothing less than simply reproduction screenshots of people trying to get work out of artists for free, which is just a perpetual frustration for creative people. And I think Ryan has the
It's
biggest
also
Twitter
generates
balls
a
of,
lot. It
on this
also,
page.
against its will, generates lots of free content for YouTubers to use.
Oh yes, oh yes. But I think it's got 6-figure followers, and he's recently been using, I don't know if it's Dolly or Midjourney, but one of the AI art apps to illustrate the requests for free art. And people really fucking hate being called out for asking artists for free art. So running that account from everything Ryan has said and I have seen can be kind of a trial. And it kind of I couldn't do it
Oh yeah,
personally.
I
I
also
couldn't,
drew
guys.
one of his stories too.
Yeah.
For Broken Telephone. I
Uh,
did that. Ha!
That's the deep Ryan Estrada lore, broken
Deep,
telephone.
deep.
Yeah.
I love for exposure doc text.
So do
Um,
I.
I'm getting a lot of fun reading the anti-work Reddit.
Oh god, I love the anti-work Reddit.
Is it still
it's
a
fucking,
hellscape?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because last I
um
heard it was a fucking mess.
Well, the thing about
oh
it is,
it's less of a mess than it was several months ago, because it was recently a huge mess because Fox News had someone on it, someone from
Yeah.
it on, and so they got like flooded with like shitheads
It,
that
I remember that it wasn't even just that they had someone on, it's they had someone who was not prepared to be on TV.
yeah.
the thing is though, that was their most prepared person, like
Oh
And
wow,
yet they
that's
still
damning.
were not prepared. They were
Well,
not ready.
the one criticism I heard about that whole fiasco was they thought they were gonna kind of have their Roaring Kitty moment where they just look
They're
really
what?
cool and Roaring Kitty. Um, Wall Street Bets, kind of the superstar guy in Wall Street Bets, is a guy whose username, he has two usernames, one which is ready for prime time and one which isn't. The one a lot of people know him by is Deep Fucking Value, all one word. And the one that gets used in public is Roaring Kitty.
Wow, I
So
wonder why.
yeah, and Roaring Kitty got interviewed and he showed up like it was kind of goofy. He looked like it was his first time wearing a suit and tie, but he like kind of clearly knew his shit and was ready for the gotchas and all this other stuff. So it actually came off really well. And I wouldn't call it like a super hostile interview, but he kind of knew what he was in for. And from watching, I got the sense the mod or admin, or I'm not sure what their capacity was, but the person who represented anti-work was not quite as well prepared, and through no
yeah.
fault of their own they had some aspects about kind of their life that were easy to make fun of by the interviewer, which was shitty. But like I think
Once
they're a
again, have
professional
to
dog
switch
walker.
headphones.
I think they're a
Yeah,
professional dog walker and they're like,
they were a
what do you
professional
do?
dog walker.
Yeah.
They were also, I believe they were transgender and were not conventionally attractive. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Fox News correspondent made fun of them for that.
Of course.
Uh, and but yeah, so it's less on fire than it was a couple of months ago. Like
Yeah.
that they have successfully like made it through.
Yeah.
Um
Because if you
but
go and look at anti-work, it's a completely legitimate arguments that are being made in there.
Okay.
I have heard a legitimate criticism of anti-work is right now it's mostly running on rage rather than
Yeah.
like solutions,
Oh yeah,
which
very much
is a
so.
fair criticism. But
One of the things
also
that yeah,
like that's why it's popular. It's running on rage. And
one of the things that I read it for is a lot of people screenshot their phones and it's almost like the free bingo square of anti-work where it's like here's my boss asking me to come in and cover someone else's shift on
Uh,
my wedding day. Like shit like that where it's like how how can you have a soul and do that to somebody? And these are completely legitimate things to quit over and be anti-capitalist over and be anti-grind set over. These are absolutely valid
uh,
arguments.
I've
but
been
I
also
think there's a difference. I think there's a fundamental difference though between anti-grind and anti like hustle and anti-work. Those feel like they can
Uh-huh.
they're adjacent, but they're not the same thing fundamentally.
How do you differentiate them?
Anti-work, I think, to me is like the idea that you should not have to work to live. You should not have to like be a part of like capitalism just to deserve to live and survive. Whereas I think anti-grind and anti-hustle is just more about there's no issue with like being having to work, but it should be ethical and it should be
Yeah, the anti-grind, anti-hustle is like, I don't have to give you 110%. I can just give you like what you paid for.
Yeah, doing the bare minimum is fine. It's what I'm here for.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Uh,
I happen to be of
so
the opinion
it's the attitude of I don't need to have 5 jobs
yeah.
to be like I am paying my bills with this one job that is part-time and that's good enough.
Yeah. I don't have to miss the birth of my child for work. I don't have to
Yeah.
miss my wedding for work. I don't have to
And
miss the
so
vacation I've been planning for 5 years for work. I don't have
uh
to miss Granny's funeral for work. Yeah.
and so people and this is where like I told you there's the legitimate criticism of people getting annoyed with the anti-work Reddit that they're not offering solutions or like discussing like that distinction, they're just mad.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, that's
and so
fair.
I've been listening to the audiobook of Bullshit Jobs by David Gruber.
Mhm.
Um and his whole thing is I feel like the anti-work folks should probably read it if they haven't. Um cuz he's basically arguing like we have the technology that everyone should be able to maintain their comfort like their current level of lifestyle with
Mhm.
just 5 hours a week.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely. I mean, that's the thing that
and
doesn't get commented on a lot. The level of value per hour per worker has gone up substantially in the past
And
couple of
so
decades.
bullshit jobs is about there are capitalism because it doesn't want you to have free time has made all of these different types of bullshit jobs that don't need to exist. They exist purely so someone can have a paycheck.
What examples did he
And
give?
well, so he says there's different flavors of bullshit job. And these are jobs where like if we got rid of them, no one would notice.
Uh-huh.
So one type of bullshit job he describes is a duct taper. And it's
Okay.
called that because you're in an office, and something about the workflow, like if the workflow is a plumbing pipe, the pipe is leaking.
Okay.
Rather than fix the pipe, they put a bucket under it and then make a job to empty for someone to empty the bucket once a day.
Okay.
Um so it's like that, so there's some flaw in management and rather than fix the management or the workflow, they just hire someone to clean up the messy part of the workflow. Um
Superfluous busy work bullshit job.
yeah, so then another type is the type of person whose job only exists to make their boss look more important. Um,
Uh-huh.
and this is like the person who is a receptionist at a publishing company that is so small that they're not getting any calls or any visitors. The receptionist just has a job because um the publisher, the two people that work at the publisher, when they call a different company, don't want it to make it seem like they don't have assistants.
Prestige
So
thing.
yeah. So when they call someone, she's the one that calls them, the person they're contacting, and be like, let me transfer you to so and so. Like, even though like that happens maybe twice a week, she doesn't need to be there all week. They literally could probably just make these phone calls themselves.
Right,
But
but that's not the done thing.
yeah, it just exists to make uh her, and I say her because it's usually a woman who will get a job like that,
Sure.
um to make her boss look important.
Did
Um
I ever tell you. Okay, and in case folks are kind of occasionally listening to me and wondering where the fuck
I
did I get it
sometimes
from?
listen to you.
Shut up. Where the fuck did I get it from? My dad, at some point in his career when he was managing a medical association, he would occasionally get calls like you just described, Kel, and he'd pick up the phone and it'd be all like, Dr. Trotman? And he'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, okay, hold please for so and so. And whenever that happened, he would just hang up. And he just casually mentioned this around me when I was like a kid. And I was like, why do you do that? And he clearly considered for a moment before answering me because I imagined he didn't want to say, because fuck those bitches. That wouldn't be appropriate to say that to a child. But he eventually settled on, you called me. I'm not waiting for you. You called me. And I was like, okay, that made sense. But obviously now that I'm older, I understand like more of sort of the social dynamics that are going on there and how it was a prestige thing and a power play thing. And like no, you called
You know
me.
what? I'm curious. We all make comics professionally. That's the thing we do.
Supposedly.
What do y'all's parents do? What are their jobs? I'm curious.
My mother
I
is
vaguely know.
My mother is a trophy wife, and my father was an allergist. He is now retired.
Okay.
My mom is a nurse. My dad was what the official title for his job is very old timey. He is a millwright.
Oh yeah.
And what that means is that whatever section of the factory is shorthanded, that's his job that day. So he was there to be a jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like fill in whoever was short staffed that day. So sometimes he would end up driving the plows that plowed the parking lot. Sometimes he would just fill in different. So he just filled in a lot of places. And it was a big enough place that he always had something to do to fill in.
So never a dull moment.
And he worked at Raytheon, so he made a lot of weapons, I assume.
What about you, Amanda?
My mother is a hospital transcriptionist. My stepdad works at a chemical plant. Forget what he does, but he's fairly. He's like, I forget the name of the title. Like he's high. He's not like a manager, but he's pretty high up as far as workers go. He's a type of technician, and I forgot what kind it is. And then my dad, who sucks, I think runs like a spray-on bedliner company. He has since I was a child. He used to like demo with like household objects, so he'd like bring clients to our house and he'd show them the household objects he sprayed bedliner on. One was a basketball. We had and if you don't know what bedliner is, it's basically this polyurethane coating, which is kind of something between plastic and rubber, that you spray on the back of truck beds and other things so they don't get dinged up. It protects the metal or the plastic, whatever. And it's kind of like a rubbery plastic with a slight texture to it, depending on how you spray it. So we had a polyurethane coated basketball. The stand that our fish tank was on was polyurethane coated, and it was that gritty texture that they use on like vehicles. Our coffee table, which used to be wood and glass, became polyurethane and glass. So like he would just bring people over and be like, you see that? Do you know what that's coated in? That's right. And this is like his way to sell people on the it was very weird.
I'm just picturing him as having this insatiable urge to bedline the entire house.
I mean,
your dad is now in my mind, a physical manifestation. He is sort of switching back and forth in a virtual reality glitch kind of way between the slap chop guy and Billy Mays.
No. The way my dad is basically, imagine Hank Hill except polyurethane liners, and he's evil.
Okay.
There, that's my dad.
To counteract Amanda's evil dad, I'm gonna also throw in my dad was like hired to be a millwright. He's also the treasurer of his union.
Oh, nice. Union man. Good. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to elaborate a little bit when I said my mom is a trophy wife. I genuinely mean that in the most sincere way. I am not trying to be dismissive or insulting. It is simply
You're
literally
not?
what she I'm really not. It's literally what she is. Like,
okay. I assume you'd want to insult her.
no, it's like I need people to kind of like picture what's going on. All right, here's the thing. My dad is from the deep south. He is from a town called Dothan, Alabama, which I would rather die than live in. Sorry to anyone from Dothan, Alabama, but I've been there enough. Okay. I'm not, this is not theoretical. This is lived experience opinion.
No, I bet he did Kono coffee mug.
And after he went to college and med school, he met my mom in Canada. I'm going to let you figure out for yourselves why me, a woman in her 40s, would have a father who would be in Canada in his 20s at that time period. And he met my mom there. And the best way I can physically describe my mom is she is biracial, half black and half white, and she looks Iranian. And she was very pretty in her youth. And this was the 70s. And my dad eventually married her and was the kind of dude who was incredibly upset if she cut her long black straight hair short. And she would ask for her birthday for diamond rings, which she would get, and name and mink coats.
Ow.
And her, what I like, the things I remember about her in my youth were she placed a lot of value in being thinner than all of her friends. And she was extremely disappointed I came out not particularly feminine. And the moment she realized this about me, that I just wasn't a feminine person, she completely lost interest in my life. So that's that situation. My mother and I are very different people, and that's just kind of her deal.
The reason I asked is just because I kind of realized, like, so many other professions you can ask what someone's parents did, and there's a good chance it's what they're doing. Like, that, but that's not, like, a thing that happens a lot in comics, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It just, I don't know, it's just interesting, because there's so many other industries and arts where, like,
it's like
my parent was a musician and now I'm a musician, and it's like, it doesn't really happen much in comics.
Yeah, the comics, generation to generation is like the Kubert school, and that's it.
Yeah, there are occasional generational, like, oh, my dad's a cartoonist and I'm a cartoonist, but if you really want to see that, like, in the thick of it, in the wild, you need to, like, look at newspaper comic people. Like, that's where it really happens.
Yeah.
I was a motorcycle accident pity sex baby.
I was a contractual obligation.
Yay!
Woo! I assume is birthday celebration.
You count back 9 months and there it is.
Kel's doing like calculations. Beep, 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 beep.
My dad's birthday is exactly 9 months before my birthday.
Yay!
So... Aww,
God, I want a soundboard.
That's kind of sweet, though.
That's cute. I like
that
it.
That is sweet. Yeah. My dad wanted a girl and a boy, and that's what he got. That sounds.
My name was supposed to be Michael.
Oh, you would have made a great Michael.
No.
That's pretty lucky that they got both the boy and the girl.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not close to my parents. I literally don't talk to them, so maybe some shit went down. I literally don't know. But yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. That's the name I was supposed to have because they thought I was going to be a boy. I've already told y'all the name that my mom wanted to give me and the family talked her out of.
What was that?
That was Kyrie Eleison.
No.
Yes, I know. I definitely told
No.
y'all.
No,
Yeah.
not like the pop song. No.
Yes, like the pop song, but not. Here's the
No.
thing. It's my mom was naming me after the pop song because she thought the guy singing that song was singing about a girl. She did
No.
not know Kyrie Eleison is a Catholic prayer. That means God have
Oh,
mercy or something like that.
no.
And the family
That's
had to talk her out of it.
like naming your kid Macarena. No,
Well,
you
worse,
can't.
except it'd be like naming your kid Macarena, but Macarena also is like a liturgy.
It's like naming your kid Freedom 90. It's like naming your kid Smooth Criminal. You can't do that. Honestly, there are probably some people who have.
But yeah, it would have been first name
Yeah.
Kiri, middle name Eleison.
No. No. Oh my god. I can't
And then a
see the
very
thing.
Czechoslovakian last name, which I don't
Oh
use
my,
anymore.
fair enough. But my
Poo to
god,
it. Goodbye. Shit
that
on
is
it. It is garbage.
that is that is wow, that's a dodged bullet. Did I told you folks about people I knew in my teen
Wait
years
a
who were friends
second.
of a
Wait.
what?
I just realized I remember the name you said you're going to name a child if you have one.
Yes, and it's
It's
fantastic, but I've never.
awful. You
No,
can't
it's
judge. No,
no,
you can't judge
no.
my
How dare you?
hypothetical almost name.
No, I think it's okay. What
No.
Amanda is slandering right now, what Amanda is fucking defaming, what Amanda is unfairly judging, is if I ever had a child, which, by the way, incredibly likely I will not. Like I said, I'm in my 40s. I'm on the far end of, genetic biological female fertility, and it's probably not going to happen because I don't want one. But I said if I had a child, I would name them Atomic. And I think
Ah!
that name fucking rules,
It
and I will not
hurts
hear a
me.
word
I
again.
hate it.
No,
You can't
Atomic is
name a
amazing.
child Atomic. It's
Okay,
awful.
here's the thing. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk about why it's the perfect name.
No.
Atomic is an amazing name because it's powerful. Like a split atom is incredibly
Children don't
powerful.
think in terms of power.
However, if they decide they want to be a fucking square, if they decide they want to be like an accountant or some shit, they can just call themselves Atom and people will think it's ADAM, not ATOM. So
No, that's why
they're
you give
good
them
to
Atomic as a middle
no.
name, so they
No,
can't.
they're
No.
good to any kid I'd have would be good to fucking go if they wanted to front a prog rock band, if they wanted to be a fucking nuclear scientist, if they wanted to be like a cog in middle management somewhere, that name would have them. They'd be good. And it'd
No,
be a cool,
Spike.
unique name. It'd be awesome.
No, you have just set your child up to get bullied every fucking day.
He's going to stand up, or she or they are going to stand up in class and go, "My name is Adam," and sit back down. And people are going to be like, "Oh, Adam, ADAM."
You're assuming. You're assuming they're going to have the wherewithal to make that decision and not go, yeah, I'm Atomic, and then not get wedgied. You demon. You cannot make. No. A middle name
Look,
is fine. Make the middle name Atomic. Do not first name them Atomic. It's like calling
Atomic
your
is
kid Apple.
well, it's better than Apple because atoms make up apples, so atoms are still more powerful than apples.
That would not matter to a 12-year-old.
No, if you cut an apple in half, you have two halves of an apple. So if you cut an atom in half, you vaporize.
That does not matter to a 12-year-old. You have to name your child knowing that someday they will be 12.
And see, the thing is, I remember I said this to someone, I forget who and when, but we were just having theoretical baby name discussions. And at the time, I had a dog named Harvey. And someone just kind of went quietly, "So you'd name your kid Atomic, but you've named your dog Harvey." So like the dog gets the person name, and the baby gets the dog.
That
Atomic isn't even a good dog name.
Spike,
I would not name a dog
I want you to know that when I was talking about you to my mom years and years ago, my mom was like, "So her name is Spike,
Indeed.
and her dog's name is Harvey."
Oh, that might have been it. Maybe I misremembered. That might have been it. See, I'm old. My memory's
Christ.
going. Yeah. But yeah.
It's like, but the person is named Spike.
Yes,
and
I
the
am
dog
indeed.
Oh
is
man.
named Harvey.
Which is... Oh, go for it.
I was just gonna say, my late brother, due to a family drama that happened in the room he was born in, his name never actually got recorded.
Oh, is he just baby boy?
He was baby boy, last name until, well, not, that's a placeholder because I'm not saying our old last name. He was baby boy legally until he was like 16 because nobody noticed until he needed to like get a bunch of documentation because he didn't ever get a driver's license. He just didn't need any information. He didn't. It just so happened. Yeah, then he was like, oh, can I choose how we spell my name? And he was like, I want to put it, because his name was like Christopher. He's like, I want to put a Z in it. It's like, no, because they had to go down to like the courthouse to get his name properly changed. And he was like, I want to put a Z in it. And my mom was like, no, we're not putting a Z in your goddamn name.
Yeah. Honest to God, like, here's the thing. I remember a period in recent American history where it was like totally acceptable and cool to dunk on traditionally African American names, which are things like,
Hi, Badger.
Yeah, the mom's name is Denise and the dad's name is Larry, and they have a daughter, and they decide the baby's going to be named La Denise or something like that. Those sort of names, and people are like, oh, those names are so fucking stupid. And can I say, I consider it a movement forward in society as a whole that we are now fucking dunking on names like Kaylee with a Leigh. Because now everyone is being subjected to the same level of derision.
Oh God, who was
beautiful to see equality in action.
I don't know if it was Keep going, Cal.
I was talking to Sam and Alina while we were tabling at San Diego Comic-Con about rebooting Buffy won't work.
Really?
Because core aspects of Buffy are stuck in the 90s. Buffy's whole name is Buffy because of we're gonna make fun of rich white girl names in Southern California. Like, isn't it funny how stupid her name is? Is like part of Buffy.
The absurdity.
So people have been making fun of dumb white girl names at least since Buffy came out. But it's gotten more common, and so we were trying to think of, okay, if you did reboot Buffy, what would her stupid white girl name be? Because the thing is like in Buffy, since I've rewatched it 9 million times, I know the name of all of Cordelia's friends. And I feel like the way they came up with Cordelia's friends' names is they just asked the writer's room, what's the stupidest girl name in your kid's kindergarten class?
That's actually a fascinating thing you pointed out, that like that's something that's kind of been lost in translation over the decades, that Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the title itself is supposed to be like this derisive absurdity. But now people just literally associate the name Buffy with like the character. So it's like the name Buffy doesn't really exist for a lot of people outside the context of that character now. So why she's named Buffy has totally been lost on the winds of time.
I actually think for that reason, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the perfect title for the TV show.
Jose,
because you have vampire, which implies there's going to be some horror, and then you have Slayer, which implies there's going to be some action, and then her name is stupid, and that lets you know there's going to be humor in the show too.
Jose, suggested Karen or Becky. Becky maybe, but Karen.
But you'd have to spell it really weird.
Not necessarily. I think Becky has entered a use of like it.
Yeah.
Currently, Becky does have exist as a stupid girl's name. Unfortunately for my Beckys. To the point that it's been used in children's shows. I think if it's like used in a children's show, like that kind of means something. Karen, however, applies to a much older woman.
I have issues with the way Karen is now deployed. It's one of those words that I want to take out of the toy box and put on a high shelf because you don't know how to treat it, so you don't get to use it anymore. You know, it's like Karen used to mean something very specific, like surprise, surprise, people like fucking took a thing from like black culture and then mutated it into uselessness. But like Karen was a specific type of woman, not every single woman who fucking annoyed you, not every single woman on
Yeah.
earth. Like being called a Karen meant you were like low key fucking racist, an active participant in white supremacy, who then cried about it when confronted because you assumed your white tears would save you. Like
Yeah.
that is what a Karen was.
I'm agreeing
A
with some people in the chat
Yeah.
who think like the modern Buffy would just be a pretty normal, average sounding name spelt really, really stupid.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so Robin's saying in the chat, Kaylee spelt really weird.
No, see, it'd be worse. It'd be like Skyly or something like that.
Or I saw a post. I don't know if it was a joke post or a real, but someone's like, "I want to give my kid a name with Roman numerals in it," but they're pronounced A. I think the kid that it was K and the Roman numerals for 8, but the kid's name would be Kate, if I remember right.
Yeah.
There was a oh god, this is such ancient internet shit. Like, don't even bother googling it. No one will find it. But there was a hospital that had a complimentary service years and years ago, possibly 10 plus, where every birth in the hospital got its own page on the hospital site where people could like leave, you know, congratulations, well wishes, you know, blah blah blah, which would record the newborn baby's name and weight and parents. And there was a baby whose name was Jer Majesty, Jer Majesty spelled weird, Jer Majesty IC8 Roman numerals.
A
something.
username?
Your Majesty IC8. And this got passed around like fucking wildfire. And it was part of like there was sort of like a mini fad a while back for naming your kids something where anyone who said their name would be like they're addressing royalty. And Your Majesty came like right in the middle of that fad. And it was like people were astonished, and there was actual legit discussion about maybe what Scandinavian countries
Caitlin.
do
It
where
was
you
Caitlin with the 8 in it. Sorry, someone
where
in the
you could
chat.
where you could only name your child something from an approved list the government gave you. People are like, maybe that's not a bad idea. Like that's back when the internet was much smaller and much quieter.
That's also what Japan does.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids with names that say something about their parents, 2 young girls bought books for me at San Diego Comic-Con.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna call
One
them out.
was, I think, 5, and the other was 3.
So babies.
And they were such tiny babies that they saw Can I Pet Your Werewolf and asked if they could buy it, and I told their parents that is for teenagers because one of the stories is about sex.
Mhm.
And the little girl looks up at her mom and says, "What sex?" So that's how young they were.
Oh no, do not sell them that book.
Yeah, so the parents still bought it. I just let them know which story to skip while reading it to their kids.
Also, I feel bad because
But given that their parents brought them to Comic-Con, can you guess what their names were and what was popular 3 and 5 years ago?
Was it a Game of Thrones name?
Yes.
Please
I
tell
knew
me they
it!
did
I
not
knew
get
it!
named after the brother and sister who were fucking each other.
No, they were both little girls.
Okay, all right, just checking.
They were named Daenerys. They were named Daenerys and Arya. Yes.
I knew one had to be an Arya. I knew it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to post something really quick in the chat.
Don't do it.
Because
I'll delete
I
it.
messed up. The child's name was not Your Majesty. I messed up and misremembered. I'm sorry. It was this.
I'm poised and ready to delete your
everyone
message.
to see. I want everyone to see this and tell me how they think it's pronounced.
Oh.
Your Highness.
Is it Your Highness?
It's Your Highness. It's fucking Your Highness. It's Your Highness.
See,
And
I knew it was gonna be I knew it was gonna be Your Highness because I'm dyslexic and that makes sense to my brain that that's pronounced Your
I
Highness.
read that as Hines.
And I am going to paste in the child's entire name.
Oh no.
They named their child after rave drugs.
By the way, there is a slight delay, so people might not know why. There are some people who might not know why you posted that.
Yeah, just that is the child's entire name. Your Highness Kendall IC8 Special K. 10 years later, I fucking remember that name.
I remember once, like, I could not for the life of me wonder why spell check was telling me I spelled charades wrong. And it's because I spelled charades SURAIDS.
That's
Charades.
ideas.
I mean, if you've never seen it spelled and you've only heard it, I wouldn't. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the things that it took me a while to absorb as a child was the spelling of chaos. Like my brain rebelled against it. Like I refused to accept it. That is how the word pronounced chaos is spelled.
Like,
what? Just
you're not.
Okay.
You've been making fun of a lot of names. I'm just saying.
What? Chaos is a horrible name.
No. I'm saying.
It's not
keep in mind all this making fun. If you ever in the 99%. I am pretty sure you will never have a baby, but should you ever, please keep this conversation of us ripping on these baby names in mind.
Okay, that is fair. That is fair. For all I know, Your Highness loves his name, and it's amazing. And it's worth noting that, okay, this is an old book.
That wasn't the direction I wanted you to go with this. No. I wanted you to not, like, no.
No,
don't sympathize with them and be like, oh, their name's fine. I can name my kid Atomic.
No, but there is a book that is very old that I really enjoyed when I read it like a decade plus ago. God, this is like a fucking old ass. But all right, anyway, it's called Freakonomics. And Freakonomics has an entire chapter on baby names and what you can determine from them. And it talked about how you can determine unsurprisingly, you can determine ethnicity, but you can also determine financial standing of the parents at the time of the child's birth. And one of the things that stuck with me is it is incredibly common for lower income white Americans who are native born to the country to name their children nicknames. So you would name your kid Jimmy instead of James. And on the birth certificate, it would say Jimmy, not James.
Yeah, I grew up thinking that my grandpa must be keeping his real name a secret from me. But then I found out, no, my grandpa's name is just legally Bob.
Yeah, that was another example they used. They also used TJ and BJ. There are people whose names are like, his name isn't Robert James or even Bobby James. His name is literally just the letters B and J. And apparently this was a thing that was, if you saw a name like this, it was very safe to assume the economic condition of the parents at the time of birth and the ethnicity, which I thought was fascinating. And there was something else too. There was a case study of like the worst parenting on earth, like buckle in for the worst parenting on earth. There was a case study of a man who had 2 sons.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I know what you're doing. Yeah,
and he named the first one Winner and the second one Loser. Like, first of all, how do you fucking do that to somebody? And secondly, like,
how could you name someone Atomic? Ugh.
Shut up. But Loser went by Lou and was actually a really sort of like successful in life person with like a steady job and a family. And Winner apparently had a really fucked up off the rails kind of life, which really fascinated me.
Is this real or apocryphal?
No, this is real. This is a real thing that happened. And this actually informed a decision I made in my long dead webcomic that I never got around to. There was a character in my comic named Reagan who had a brother, and the brother's name was Champion, and he went by Champ. and you never got to meet him because I never got around to him, but Champ was just going to be an absolute fucking disaster. And
Spike is going to
that's one of
forever talk about the webcomic she won't let you read.
No, it's because it's fucking ugly. I don't want anyone to
It's
see it.
not.
Amanda, okay, let's go on your computer and let's dig up some fucking 23-year-old art.
Okay,
and see what it
sure.
looks like.
Spike, do you not follow my Twitter? I post old art from like when I was in high school all the time.
Well, I don't like my
Spike,
old art.
I don't either. I just think it's funny.
Spike, I really like all the goofy names people have in Discworld. Cause like there's in one of the witch books, there's the family that they're like, well, you name girls after virtues, so clearly you must name boys after sins. So their sons are named like Bestiality
No,
Jenkins.
no. I forget what there was I forget the details, but I remember there was a point in history where I think it was in like early American immigrants like
Puritan names?
Yes, where like they couldn't this was before a time when there was like literacy was widespread. So but people wanted their kids to have holy names, so they would just pick words out of the Bible.
Yeah.
But like because they weren't very literate, they didn't know that not all the words meant something holy. Yeah. So it resulted in a lot of like really strange but oddly boring names like
Verity,
like Salutation, I think was one of them.
No,
like because it's like they weren't very literate, but they wanted to give their kids like very holy names, so they thought, well, the words are from the Bible, it must be holy.
Yeah, I remember there was somebody, and like I'm telling the fucking truth, y'all can go Google this. There was a notable early American who was from a Puritan line, and I don't remember the details of how he fucking got this way, but his name was Preserved Fish.
Wow.
Like if you can fucking, I'm gonna go look right now. Preserved Fish. He is a merchant. Like there's type ahead on Google. He was born in 1766. His name was Preserved Fish. He was born in Freetown, Massachusetts, to Isaac and Ruth Fish, and they fucking took that innocent tiny baby. And it was I'm sorry, it wasn't a Puritan name; it was a Quaker name, and they named him Preserved because it was just like a family name, and it refers to preserved from sin, which is a old-fashioned way of being saved from sin. So it's like, saved fish, but his name is fucking Preserved Fish. Terrible.
Oh god, okay, I looked it up to make sure I wasn't crazy. Okay, blah 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 blah. So-called oratory names encourage good Christian behavior. A Puritan minister compared a good name to a thread tied around the finger. Some Puritans went to extremes when naming their children, like the parents of Nicholas. This is their middle name. I'm about to say their middle name. Nicholas. If Jesus Christ had not died for thee, thou hadst been damned, Barbon.
Yes, I fucking love that shit. Oh, I've also heard of like Puritan kids named shit like Humiliation.
I've actually read that shorter names include Mortify Hicks and Humiliation Scratcher.
And like, just again, this is another one of those cases where, the usage has changed over time, but humiliation is more like, being made humble, you know? So they didn't quite mean it like, fuck this kid, lol. It was be humble.
So I'm gonna read the family, all the siblings of Bestiality. They
all the siblings of Bestiality. Let's just have that be a sound clip.
Okay, so his last name was Carter, not Jenkins. So it's the Carter family thought like, so you should name all your girls after virtues and all your boys after sins. So their daughters are Hope Carter, who suffers from severe depression. Chastity Carter, who became a lady of negotiable virtue and more pork. Prudence Carter, who ended up having 13 children. Charity Carter, who expects to get $1 change out of a 75 pence purchase. And then their boys are named Anger Carter, who's very mild-mannered. Jealousy Carter, who delights in the success of others. Covetous Carter, who is generous to a fault, Devious Carter, who is the most honest man in the room, and Bestiality Carter, who is very kind to animals and not in that way.
Someone mentioned how in Australia it's illegal to name your child a collection of names that makes a sentence. That reminded me of I think it's New Zealand. They had either the judge made them change the name or something happened. There was a girl named Tallulah Does the Hula in Hawaii, I think.
Yes, Tallulah Does the Hula. I remember that. Yeah.
I don't remember what actually happened. I just remember Tallulah Does the Hula in Hawaii apparently was the kid's name.
Yeah, I remember that too. I'm pretty sure a judge just like straight up was like, you can't fucking do that.
Oh, I'm okay. Sorry, I looked it up. Parents lose custody of girl for naming her Tallulah Does the Hula from Hawaii.
Yeah. And it's stuff like that where I kind of get where people are coming from when they're proponents for the whole choose your child's name from a list, where it's like part of me is like, fuck you, but like part of me is also, there are definitely people who treat their kid like an accessory to their own lives as opposed to a independent being that will one day have to go out into the world and function.
So she got put into guardianship so that her name could be changed because her parents didn't want to change it. So she got put into guardianship so that then they would change her name. The reason was the court is profoundly concerned that the very poor judgment that this child's parents have shown in choosing this name, it makes a fool of the child and sets her up with a social disability and a handicap unnecessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that.
Yeah, there are certain names that will get you charged with child abuse.
You can't name your kid like shithead and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I remember more recently is some parents got upset because a grocery store refused to write their kid's name on a birthday cake.
Adolf.
No, his name was Hitler.
Yeah, I remember this family. I remember this fucking family. I was like, for folks who aren't aware, I occasionally indulge in something I call atrocity tourism, which is I will bookmark the social media presence, the Facebook pages, the whatever, of certain people. And I will occasionally check in on them just to see how they're doing. And if I do this, they're probably a mess. And this entire family that Kel mentioned was at one point some of those people. And they were kind of like those people who are fucking, this is all they had. Being bigots is all they had. And it was more than their identity, it was how they got the world to give a shit about them at all. Because if they weren't this, they would be less than nothing. They were impoverished. They were incredibly disadvantaged. They were borderline illiterate. They had been in and out of the prison system. Their lives were just nothing by kind of every measurable standard.
If they had named their kid Adolf, they might have plausible deniability because maybe it's a family name or whatever. But no, they just named their kid Hitler.
And they would do things like you said, go into like the Publix or whatever and order a birthday cake for their child. And I remember like the details of this because it was like their motivations were so clear when you hear the details. They would order a birthday cake and they would say, put happy birthday Hitler on my child's birthday cake because that is his name. And the people at Publix were like, okay, we're not going to do that. We can put happy birthday and we can literally hand you the tube of icing and then you can do your child's name on there. And he would refuse and he would make a huge stink about how these people were prejudiced and they were prejudiced against him and his family who were just proud of their heritage. And he would TV airtime.
I believe their daughter's name was like Ava Braun.
Yeah, her name was not just Ava, it was Ava Braun. Yeah. They were, and if I'm not mistaken, those kids got took away. I mean,
to tie this back to comics. No, I'm serious. No, this isn't me trying to like deflect. I mean, seriously, this is genuine and like, relevant. Like, people get really like, I've seen so many people get bent out of shape trying to name a character, and like names are important, but also like they're really not important. Like, or where they come from. Like, when I say like, well, just pick a name. Just pick a name. It doesn't matter. It can come from anywhere because I mean, God, names can just come from anywhere. It doesn't matter.
I mean, there's going to be certain things you need to pay attention to, like when you're writing a certain fantasy setting or a historical fiction setting. there have been a lot of kind of silly, easily avoidable mistakes by people who, for example, are, I don't know, they're making a historical novel about feudal Japan, and they name a child of the samurai class a name the child would never have, something like that. And it's just one of those sort of, maybe find a proofreader who is more
Yeah,
well versed
definitely
in
when it comes
this.
to period
Yeah.
stuff, but like, just think
Yeah.
about the fact that, okay, what would you for example, what would you consider a 1600s period name?
Exactly. I mean, for
Acor-
me, the lazy way to do it is just go look up what people are naming
because
back
according
then.
to this
Sometimes
article, there was someone named Increase Smather.
Oh yeah, Increase. Yeah, he was a preacher.
I you also though sometimes get a name that is technically historically correct,
Mhm.
but it's like people don't think of it as an old-timey name, they think of it as a modern name. Like
Yeah.
Tiffany is actually a lot older
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
than
It's
you would expect. But if you name your character Princess Tiffany, like
people just look
people
at
are
you.
gonna be like, "That's weird."
Yeah, it's like it goes back to like, God, like an empress or something like
Well,
that,
I
doesn't
also
it?
see people do this kind of stuff where like, well, my character's name needs to have importance. It needs to have a meaning. It's like, my name, I remember my name was basically the way an argument got settled.
Yeah.
It
And
was
people
just
are like,
fine. Give her great grandma's middle name, and we'll grab this. My the name they also settled on was another pop song.
so it's like people will sit there and they'll try to fucking they'll sit there and they'll have their like protagonist for their story, and they'll just like post threads or tweets someplace and be like, I know I want the last name Silverblade, but like, here, everyone, like, vote on your favorite name, and all the first names are things, not to be too mean, but like all the first names are things like Damien or Lucifer or something like that, just like a name where, when I see it, and I mean this in the most I can relate way possible, when I see it, I'm like, you are 19 at the most. When they're making their OC, and it's like, I
Oh
have Damien
gosh.
Silverfang,
You made me think of the other day when I play that dinosaur game, and there's like a lot of role playing involved, and
Yeah.
apparently I ruined someone's family tree.
No.
We were playing basically someone that was like, all our kids are named after things like Appalachia, Redwood. They were just a lot of like very woodsy names. Like, what are your kids called? And like the kids I hatched, and I'm like, this one's baseball and this one's volleyball. And it
And
was like,
honestly,
oh wow, you just made the family tree really weird. I'm like, those are my kids' names. Deal with it.
and here's the thing though, you
uh
can absolutely like raise
My
your hand
kids
right
love
now.
their names, by the way.
You can raise your hand right now in the back row of the class and be like, hey, Spike, you're totally full of shit. And you are absolutely right, because, like, there are literal world leaders who have those fucking anime protagonist ass names. They are real people who existed, and chances are you just don't know because their last name is in another language. Like, the first thing you learn about when you start reading about Russian and Soviet history is Stalin is just the word steel. Dude just fucking called himself Joe Steel. And, and ended up fucking running the Soviet Union, run by fucking Joe Steel. Like, are you for real?
um I'm just thinking about like a lot of people are like Yennefer's a stupid name in The Witcher. And it's like that's a real name in Poland.
Yeah, yeah.
Um the other thing is I'm forever mad at the people that made the Witcher video game, or like the people that translated it, because the bard guy Yasker, um in the video game his name is Dandelion, but if you actually literally translate Yasker, it means buttercup, which I think is way more fitting as a name. The translators should have went with buttercup. Like that guy's
Cowards.
like a big he's a big man whore. He should be named Buttercup.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
dandelion. Ha.
I
Are buttercups poisonous to eat?
I don't know.
I gotta look this up. Damn it! Now I gotta look this up.
That's one of those things I always heard about when I was like a kid, but I don't know the truth in it.
Are buttercups poisonous? The leaves and stems of many species of buttercups contain ranucculin, a glycoside that forms a toxic blistering agent, protoanin, when the plant is chewed or crushed. So yeah, they're toxic. Yeah. Maybe not poisonous, but they're toxic.
Because that like belongs to this school of like old wives' tales, supposed knowledge. Like, keep in mind, everyone in this fucking chat right now, everyone, like Kel and Amanda and myself, we are pre-internet. So our early childhoods were spent.
No, Spike, I am not pre-internet. I'm sorry.
The internet cannot be 35 years old. It cannot be. No
Spike,
way.
I was on the internet at age 7.
Well, you still had a youth that was pre-internet, though. The internet was
not
not
around when you were 5 years old. If you could call that living.
What I'm saying is, I, at least, went through a period in my youth, before my teen years, where, you would just not know things and people would tell you things and you'd be like, okay. Like, never touch a baby bird, because if you touch a baby bird, the mom will, like, never fucking.
Oh, Spike, wait, Spike.
That shit also still gets passed around on the internet.
The internet perpetuates tons of urban myths and stuff. The internet is very good at keeping that shit alive.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Have you seen those like stupid Instagram posts that are just like, if you eat like 2 almonds and a peanut, you'll never get wrinkles?
Spike, did you know that Mew is hiding behind a truck in the first Pokemon game?
I could not. Oh, you know what? Oh, I can do this. I can do this. I remember, I think I might have even mentioned this on this very fucking show in the past. I remember there was a thing that like was the first time my trust was destroyed by the mainstream media, everyone. And this was when I read in a gaming magazine, because they used to have those, in the April issue, so you can probably guess where this is going. In Street Fighter 2, you could summon Akuma, and you had to do it in a certain way. And the gaming magazine that I read had a step-by-step for the arcade cabinet version of Street Fighter 2 to make Akuma show up and kick your ass, because according to the article, he was completely impossible to defeat, because that was kind of the point of him. He was a skill test. It was about how long you could last. And I remember reading this and totally believing it with all my heart for literal years.
You remember when Oh man, I loved gaming magazines because they could lie to you all the time and there was nothing you could do about it.
Yep.
I love dumb Pokemon shit.
God, there was a phase of my life where I only bought that PlayStation magazine if there was a hot lady on it.
Oh. Although I have to say that this is only tangentially related, but I'm older than both of you, not by like a significant amount, but by enough. And it's one of those things where I understand the gulf between us that is usually invisible, because by the time Pokemon showed up, I was not really susceptible, I guess is the best way to put it. I wasn't really susceptible to Pokemon by the time it showed up, but it seemed to have hit both of you.
Spike, I think this is a more difference in personalities, because there are people your age who were susceptible to Pokemon. Really? I don't think this is an age thing. I think it's just a personality thing and preference thing.
Yeah.
Maybe. That could entirely be true.
Like you were mentioning how like you're too old to have like really been influenced by the initial magical girl craze when it hit America, but it was like the initial magical girl craze was just Sailor Moon, and that you absolutely would have been in an age where you would have been receptive to it had you been into that stuff. Like you didn't
Amanda, your children are so loud.
Let me go grab them and shake them.
Your children are so loud. I hear them. I hear your filthy potatoes.
But yeah, Spike. Spike, if you were into girlier things,
I hold him.
Probably would have still been hit by the magical girl thing.
Yeah.
Why are you so loud?
Yeah. See, I remember. Let's like for real. When I would come home from school in like middle school, I think, like it's all fucking fuzzy as shit now. I would watch 2 things I would really look forward to. Unsolved Mysteries reruns. I fucking loved that shit. I lived for
That
it.
show scared me.
Oh, I loved
I
Unsolved
was itty
Mysteries.
bitty, and that show made me scared.
And here is a Easter egg for everyone. You can find Unsolved Mysteries on YouTube right now, and the best part is, since the episodes are so old, they all have appendices describing how the cases turned out, because a lot of them have been solved in the last 20 years.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you go and find like the official Unsolved Mysteries channel, you will find just like sort of a text kind of, epilogue. They
How
found
did you
her
get
or
so
something.
fat?
And it's like he
get
was
so
found
fat?
pretending to be a mechanic in, Oslo, Norway, and he was
It turns out he was a very fat rat who drinks water very loudly. Oh no!
Exactly. And that's really cool. That is incredibly enjoyable to just not
You're
have
so
that sort
fat.
of
Let me put you back.
mystery element to Unsolved
Okay.
Mysteries anymore. So if you go on YouTube, you
What
can
Spike?
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Yes.
I
Yes,
know
Kel, Pokemon. Share.
I know that you missed it.
Very much so. Yes.
And but I think like part of the ingeniousness of Pokemon is half of them were really cutesy, and then the like other half of them were more like
Horrific.
Yeah, so it's like just the right, like we're gonna hit both the things that kids like. And also like for the weird kids, there are just tiny horrific things of trivia in the Pokedex. Like there's a balloon ghost Pokemon that eats children's souls and carries them away in the middle of the night. And that's just in the Pokedex for the kids that feel like reading that nonsense.
And you know what?
Did the mic pick up my brother just now?
No, I didn't
He
hear
just
anything.
made the strangest yodeling victory sound I've ever heard.
I guess he won.
I guess he won. I don't know. I just heard, oh, I'm like, what the?
Good for him.
Good for him, I guess. Whatever he's having a good time.
Yeah. But Kel, I see the truth in that, because there is always going to be someone who, maybe me in another life, who knows, who would be like, I'm not going to be a basic bitch. I'm not going to have Furret or Pikachu or Raichu as my favorite.
You've just summoned Abby.
I'm not going to have that one be my favorite. I'm going to like the chandelier.
I love the chandelier. Eat shit. The chandelier's good.
There's nothing wrong with the chandelier. It's just that's the one that stays with me. I'm like, that's a fucking chandelier.
I like look, I had a Charmander because so I could name it Charmander. That was it. That was my logic.
But I also think they recently did like a survey to figure out every country's favorite Pokemon. Like
okay.
Apparently, the most popular Pokemon in America is Gengar.
Okay, which one is that?
The little purple ghost who looks like
the purple ghost one. Yeah.
Oh, does he have like little demon horns and he's like spherical?
Yes.
Yeah, they look more like ears, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I have seen that one.
I like the ghost pumpkin.
Gengar is apparently America's favorite Pokemon.
I wouldn't have guessed. Just from what I've seen, I thought everybody would be about like Squirtle and Charmander and shit.
So the most popular worldwide is Pikachu. Obviously.
Unsurprisingly.
And then second most popular worldwide is Eevee, which is why it's Let's Go Eevee.
That's the one that turns into like 5 other different ones.
Yes, exactly. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I know a few things.
Have I told y'all about the Charmander doll? The Charmander doll that broke my brother's heart. When he was really little, like super little. And he was also small for his age too, so he was particularly small. He got like a Charmander doll for Christmas that was like the size of him, basically. And he kept that thing up till his teen years. And it was ratty and horrible. And like, so he was like a teenager at this point. And my mom looks at it at one point and goes, oh, it's been through the water. That's kind of ratty. And she looked at me and goes, you think we should throw this away? And he goes,
oh, no.
And he goes, oh, I guess so. Yeah. And And she goes, okay, well then, yeah, let's just toss it. So she tossed it. Like, she didn't, like, pressure him into it or anything. She just said, yeah. The problem is my brother is so socially awkward that it turns out later his logic was, oh, if she's saying this, the right answer must be, yes, we should throw it away.
Okay.
And he cried later. He was so upset. I worked so hard to find him another one, and we couldn't do it.
No.
We had to instead get him a giant Dr. Pepper can pillow. That was the best replacement we could find. He loves that pillow. Look, he likes Dr. Pepper a lot.
I also really like Bulbasaur, #1 in the Pokedex, #1 in our hearts. Bulbasaur's great.
That's the one that's the tank, basically.
Huh?
No, Bulbasaur he's a little frog with a bud on his back.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Wartortoise or something like that.
Squirtle turns into Wartortle and then Blastoise. And Blastoise
okay, yeah, I know Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, yeah, he has a flower. Okay.
He's based on pots.
Oh god,
because there's all those like outdoor pots that are shaped like frogs, and you put plants in them, and that's basically where Bulbasaur comes from.
And I know there's one that somebody sued over, that Russian idiot, the Russian fake psychic idiot.
Alakazam.
Yeah, because he just like holds a spoon, and like dude got so offended by that.
Well, I also think his Japanese name references him, doesn't it?
Oh, does it?
Yeah. The Japanese name references him, and he did have the same facial hair as the guy. So
yeah. Okay.
He had more than the Pokemon hold spoons.
Yeah, let me go look it up.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough.
Yeah.
All I know about Pokemon is for a while.
Yeah, it's the Japanese name is Youngerer.
Yeah, Yuri Gagarin. Yeah, that's
it's referencing him.
Yeah, Yuri's a piece of shit, by the way, everyone. In my opinion. I
don't know anything about him other than he sued Pokemon for.
Oh no, yeah, he's like
all I know about Pokemon is
he's like a long-term shyster.
Yeah, he's a fake psychic.
Here's the thing: if you're gonna sue Pokemon over making a Pokemon like you, like, I think that makes you a piece of shit regardless.
However,
I disagree. If they're like, I'm not here's the thing: the guy sucks, but like, I don't think that makes someone a piece of shit.
No, I absolutely get it. Two things.
Pokemon
one of my favorite stories ever, and this is, I'm pretty sure, a James Randi story. If you guys don't know who James Randi is, go look up the documentary An Honest Liar. It'll tell you about James Randi's life's work. He was awesome and indispensable to the world community. He was a stage magician, and just in case you folks didn't know, the 99% of psychics out there operating, claiming to have supernatural powers, they are literally just doing stage magic without telling you they're doing stage magic, which is why so many magicians, such as Penn and Teller and James Randi, who went by the Amazing Randi, really fucking hate psychics, because they're using obvious stage magic tricks to fool people into giving them money and fool people into thinking they have special powers. And Yuri was one of these people who was using stage magic tricks to convince people he could melt metal with his mind. And in case you're not up on your psychic bullshit, his signature move was that he would pick up a spoon and touch it, and the bowl end of the spoon would eventually droop and fall off.
He would rub it.
Yeah, and it would droop and fall off like he had melted the metal with his fingers. Now, another person who was a stage magician was Johnny Carson, who hosted the late night show for a long time. Johnny really liked stage magic, and like many magicians, he really, really hated psychics. So this is a true fucking story. He booked Yuri on his show. Yuri, of course, happily accepted the invite because, oh my God, he's going to be on the biggest late night show of all time. And then Johnny Carson consulted James Randi about how to set up Yuri's on-air fucking test, so that he could not bring his own cutlery, the camera would not cut away, things like that. And on live late night TV, Johnny Carson laid out all this cutlery in front of Yuri and went, okay, well, you're here to show us your psychic powers. Here is some cutlery we bought and we have confirmed is real cutlery. You have not seen it and you will not be allowed to bring anything you use. Here is a table that we have brought, and here's like everything is stuff we've brought and we have confirmed is real, not gaffed, not tricked. And they lay the cutlery out on the table in front of Yuri, in front of a studio audience. They just sprung it on him and went, okay, let's see it. And of course he could not do it. So he got debunked live on television. And it was because Johnny Carson and James Randi hated that shit so much. And I wish that kind of defender of skepticism was still functioning today, but quite frankly, people don't like being told magic isn't real, so it's always incredibly unpopular.
I mean, to be fair, I think that now YouTube is a place of chaos and evil, but I do think a lot of YouTubers have absolutely picked up that mantle in a good way.
Oh yes, yes.
The debunkers.
There's some pretty amazing stuff. There's one I think his internet name, I cannot believe in my heart it's his real name. His internet name is Miles Power. He's a British chemist who has been just on a tear lately. And the thing I first found him for is, for a while there was
Didn't he do a good video about jelly juice?
Oh, he did an amazing video about jelly juice.
That's where I know him from.
Yeah, and he's really fucking cool. And he recently did an incredibly interesting and eye-opening video that I'm sure is catching him a lot of fucking smoke, because it is about Sri Lanka. And for folks who
the cake lady. I love the cake lady. What's her name again?
Anne Reardon.
Anne Reardon. Yes,
yeah,
how to cook
she's
that.
also amazing. I love her
great.
a lot. But basically, like, this is not my area of expertise. I just watched the video and it was really interesting. Where Miles Power did a video about Sri Lanka and what's going on there. And in case you didn't know, it is just absolute higgledy-piggledy yakety sax, because the president...
I don't know what higgledy-piggledy means.
Just chaos.
Okay,
basically.
Thank you.
Yeah. And literally the leadership has fled the nation. It was this total nepotism nightmare anyway, so whatever. And it all got kicked off. That even like ancient Rome understood that people need bread in circuses, but it all got kicked off because the leadership of the nation, who had no agricultural experience amongst them, they adopted a philosophy of universal forced organic farming.
What?
And yes, and that means no imported fertilizers. All right. Sri Lanka literally could not feed its people on organic farming. And Miles extrapolates this and talks about organic production and how it's kind of like he understands the motivation behind it, but a fully organic world cannot support 8 billion people, and Sri Lanka is sort of a microcosm of this and what people could expect if they got sort of the fully organic world they agitate for. And it's really interesting and really rigorous, and I bet a whole lot of people are a whole lot mad about it right now.
I just, the whole organic, ugh. I don't know it. I'm not getting into it. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like I am not educated enough to sit here and tell everyone, who is the most right in this situation, but he just goes in and fucking tears it to little pieces. So good. Anyway, watch Miles Power. He's great.
Delicious.
Also, Coffeezilla. Coffeezilla is also great.
When he's not doing his goddamn skit thing. I hate his skits.
Oh, I think that's precious.
No, I hate it.
Oh,
I hate the skits. I love the research. I love the subject matter. Hate his stupid skits. I hate his robot.
I love it when he talks to the robot.
I hate that robot.
I love it when he experiments with formats.
Hate that robot.
I really like...
And I'm a robot fucker. I'm a connoisseur of sexy robots. I hate that robot.
Wow, Amanda.
I really like some more news I've been they just did a 3-hour video about why Jordan Peterson just spouts nonsense all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like just they really break down like why what he says is bullshit. And
In case you needed that, yeah.
well, it's very, very like exacting, because it's one of those things where like when he debates people or whatever, he like interrupts them and says he didn't say things that he said, and like, and
Uh-huh.
because they're improving their
Do not
argument,
encourage her.
they
I'm
can't
banning that person in the chat.
they can't
Thank you,
they can't
Dario.
uh they can't they can't like refute him and bring up the evidence that he said these things. So like they're
Mhm.
going through like clip after clip after clip, just breaking down and pulling apart like what he said uh multiple times, and how his worldview is everyone's wrong but the left are more wrong, basically, is
Yeah.
kind of his MO.
Yeah, he
uh,
appeals to the aggrieved and the contrarian and people who are looking for
Mm.
absolutes.
I would like to
and he
emphasize, I was being hyperbolic earlier. I don't actually genuinely hate the robot. I dislike it. I don't hate it. I am still I drank a Bang energy drink before we started. I am borderlining on manic. So just fair warning, I am being hyperbolic.
I finished my mug cake and my Diet Coke, and I'm feeling wonderful.
I'm Spike. I don't need stimulants to live.
Oh god, I absolutely do.
I'd do cocaine if I could.
Remember how I destroyed my stomach recently because I was drinking like 3
That was
peachy
also me
keen
being
monsters?
hyperbolic. Don't call the police.
No, I real talk, everyone, like Granny Spike, sitting in front of the fireplace with an Afghan over her knees, and a shawl over her shoulders, rocking. Don't drink 3 to 4 monsters a day. That's just a bad plan.
Oh, that's terrible for you. Didn't stop me from doing it before.
I know, it's like it's so fucking stupid when you like realize what you're doing. All right, real talk. I had
Don't
a
make me
moment
bring up the
where
yogurt drink I used to make again.
it's so fucking nasty. All right. I used to drink 3 or 4 monsters a day, specifically the peachy keen fit flavor, which, in case you've never had it, it tastes exactly like peach ring gummy candy in liquid form. If you like peach ring gummy candy,
They were giving
you
those out for free at San Diego Comic-Con, so I
oh my
tried
god, I
some.
would have taken 50 because I love the flavor of peach ring gummies, and this is just liquid peach ring gummies but with caffeine, and it was my
Uh,
jam. I was buying it by the 24 case from Amazon. That's how much I was drinking. And I was like, well, it's 0 calories, so it's fine. Or practically
Look,
0 calories, like 5.
Bang
Yeah.
energy drinks are extremely dangerous because
Yeah.
monsters, even the best tasting monsters, have this kind of aftertaste. It's kind of
Yeah.
medicinal. I don't know how else to describe it. And the same with Red Bulls. They have this kind of herby medicinal aftertaste. Bang energy
Yeah.
drinks do not have that. They taste like this one tastes like limoncello. It does taste like.
But like
I don't know what
was
they do to do that, but it's
yeah.
evil of them.
A few weeks ago, I was getting ready to walk my dog, and I just saw like half a can on the counter. I was like, "Oh, I'll just finish that before I walk Lucy." And at the time, my stomach was
and then
completely
you died.
empty, and basically, I got scared. I just took a sip. It wasn't like I fucking slammed it. It wasn't like I chugged it. I took a sip, a healthy sip, but a sip of what was in that can. And I put my little harness on my dog, and I went down the elevator, and I was just walking her up and down the block, and my stomach did a thing it never did before. It just like had this weird, sharp, full of pins clench. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
Red Bulls do that to me.
oh, I was like, what is this you're doing? You've never done it before. I don't feel so good. And I got back upstairs, and I feel real bad for Lucy because by the time I had turned around, cut the walk short, turned around, gone back to my building, gone up the elevator, gone down the hall, and gotten into my condo, I like was in such pain. I couldn't even feed her. I couldn't even take her collar off. I couldn't even take her harness off. I couldn't do any of like the post walk stuff. And so imagine you're just this little elderly pit bull watching, your skin servant, your skin monkey, your human, just kind of limp to the couch and lie down for 2 hours writhing around because that's what I did. And the only thing that interrupted it is I got up to throw up. And I just was lying on the couch going, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? And after like the initial wave of, without hyperbole, agony kind of lessened, I got my phone out because I was literally in too much pain to like fuck with my phone. And I got my phone out and I began doing searches. And I think I did a tweet about it. And that was kind of how it went, where I was like, this happened because my stomach was totally, completely empty. So it couldn't have been anything I ate. And I drank the Red Bull, no, I'm sorry, the Peachy Keen, and then literally 10 minutes later, I couldn't fucking move. And the website I was looking at is like, yeah, if you drink these habitually and you drink a lot a day, you're gonna fuck your stomach completely. And I was like, oh. I felt like the biggest doofus.
They're
Like,
also
how
really
could you-
bad for your teeth.
Yeah, how could you not understand that? How could you not understand that drinking 4 Peachy Keens a day is probably not great for your stomach?
I've been way overdue. Like, I've had a prescription for it, and I mean, I need the prescription is for when makes sense why I have procrastinated it, but I've had a prescription for an ADHD test for like 2 months and I haven't done it yet. But one of the things that made me decide to ask my doctor, like, should I get an ADHD test, is I was reading, like, because I've always been like, I guess caffeine just doesn't work for me, because I can drink an entire energy drink and go right to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that's a symptom of ADHD, right? And I was like, is it?
It's also acclimation, which was
But
definitely
no,
a
I
thing
mean,
with
I've
me.
been this way since I was a kid.
Yeah,
like,
it's different if it's like just always been that way. But for me,
like, I can take a break
mm-hmm.
and then come back to it and drink like a coffee or an energy drink and then go, all right, goodbye.
Oh no, that is definitely not me. I absolutely, if I take a break from caffeine, I get
the actual test is the fact that I keep procrastinating on getting it taken.
Yeah, it's like I can take a break from caffeine. I will have straight up caffeine withdrawals, which is usually just headaches and being really tired. It'll last about a day and a half. If I can stay off caffeine for that period, I'll be normal again. But afterwards, if I drink
Spike.
caffeine, it's like, hello, where have you been all my life, beautiful?
Spike.
Yeah. Yes.
Did you know that if you have really bad caffeine withdrawal, it gives you flu-like symptoms?
Yep.
Really?
That happened to me in a community college.
Oh.
I know this because I remember I was almost done with Misfits of Avalon.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to C2E2. And in the time it took me to fly from Portland to Chicago,
Yeah.
I started to get a caffeine withdrawal headache.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I'm drinking way too much caffeine. I'm in the middle of a deadline. I cannot deal with this until after that is done.
See,
So
whenever oh no, keep talking. Sorry.
So I finished Misfits and then quit caffeine cold turkey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I found out it's like having the flu if your withdrawal is bad enough, because I felt like garbage for like a week.
Oh, I'll bet.
So, due to an experience I had, whenever I hear of friends having some kind of like, what do you call it? It's outpatient surgery when you have the surgery and then you go home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, every time I hear about a friend having some kind of outpatient surgery, like breast reduction or top surgery or something like that, my first line of advice is, do you drink a lot of caffeine? Okay, do not stop drinking caffeine because you're going into surgery.
Okay.
Because if you have a caffeine withdrawal while you are home, coming down off your anesthesia and feeling miserable, you are going to feel extra bad. Because that's what I did, and it resulted in me barfing and peeing on myself.
Oh god,
in a chair that I was unable to get out of.
Yeah,
But don't do that. Like, it sounds like it's a good idea. Like, yes, it's good to abstain from caffeine before a surgery, but like, if you drink so much caffeine all the time that like skipping it for a few days would suddenly be cold turkey for you, don't do it if you're having outpatient surgery. You'll feel terrible.
Advice from Amanda.
Same day surgery. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to quit caffeine before a surgery, quit it like
a
week
week.
before
Yes.
surgery.
Get the bad
Not
time out of your system.
Yes.
uh,
There are definitely times where if I don't drink enough, like the day before, like the thing I've always said is, all right, for folks who don't know, I'm a huge fucking square. I'm the squarest person in this room. I don't drink and I don't smoke and I never really have. I mean, never have, period. Let's not even put that in there. I just don't do those things and haven't done those things. And I'm really glad in retrospect from, 40 plus years of life, in retrospect, I can look back and I'm really glad I never did any of that shit because my experience with caffeine has taught me I'm super, super good at initiating dependence and super, super shit at maintaining addiction. So I will have 4 Cokes a day for like 3 days and then be surprised on day 5 when I have a headache. I like do not understand the mechanism of addiction on a fundamental level. Like I won't do what I need to do to not be suffering because I'm an idiot.
I don't know. That just kind of happens to people. I think that's addiction, man.
I'm not especially stupid, is what you're saying.
No, I think that's just how it gets you.
Okay, because it's
I
like
think that's just normal, frankly.
like, oh wow, I've spent like 3 months drinking a pot of coffee a day, and now my head really hurts because I haven't drunk coffee for 2 days. Wow,
I
what's going on?
remember talking to someone who's talking about their anxiety, and they were like, "Well, I'm cutting back on caffeine because I was talking to my therapist about how I'm anxious all the time, and they're like, "Well, how much coffee do you drink?" And they're like, "Well, like a pot, maybe 2 pots a day," and they're like, "Hmm," and then you feel anxious all day.
Oh my god, that's
You maybe
amazing.
connect these dots.
Yeah.
See, that's what always been the weird thing for me. It feels then again, ADHD. I know a lot of people with ADHD, like it's not a replacement for medication, but it's like, and again, I don't even know if I have it. I could fail this test. It's like, nah, you just got other problems. Like, oh, okay. But I've heard like, caffeine kind of like instead of acting like a stimulant, it kind of does what meds do for you. So that's
Hmm.
why it's like I don't feel alert. I just feel like meh. So, but if anyone, my tip for anyone who wants to drink only a little caffeine but make sure it works, uh, drink a little and go for a walk.
Yeah, that does. I've heard of caffeine naps too that are apparently really
Those do
effective.
not work for me. They've have again. I can drink a Red Bull and take a nap for 8 hours. I think that's just called sleep, though.
Alexis, I didn't know pink drinks had caffeine. I thought they were. I mean, admittedly, I've never had a pink drink. I've only like heard about them. That for folks who don't know, unless I am mistaken, the pink drink used to be a air quotes secret menu item at Starbucks, and I'm pretty sure it has like zero coffee in it.
I think it's got
And it's
tea in it, doesn't it? Tea has caffeine.
yeah, but I didn't know it was in a pink drink. I thought for the longest time it was basically a milkshake.
That it
I
had
did
tea in
not
it.
know. Yeah, I was not aware. But yeah,
Um,
it was a secret menu item. It was like I don't even know how it started. It was like probably on like mom social media that somebody shared the recipe and then suddenly everyone started ordering it and Starbucks just shrugged and added it to the menu.
um, I remember in college, I would get French vanilla tea to have at night. Um, it which is caffeinated, which my roommate found out the hard way. Like,
You know what? I
'cause
bet pink sauce has caffeine.
Oh my fucking god, can we talk about pink
No,
sauce
let Kel
please?
finish their
Please.
story first.
Okay,
Then we'll
Cal,
talk
after you.
about pink
because
Oh my
sauce.
because
yeah.
they would be like, they're like, I can't get to sleep and I don't know why and blah blah blah, blah. And it's like, well, you have been drinking a lot of my tea, and they're like, yeah, but your tea's decaf, and I was like, no, it isn't.
It's not sleepy time. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like,
Yeah. Uh who cannot fucking know about pink sauce at this moment, but this is one of those things I've been watching. I've been super
I'm
into this.
fascinated by the pink sauce.
There is
I
this
don't.
whole
I am the
yeah.
kind of person who's like, I don't really care about internet drama. Bring it back up to me a month later when it's all settled and we can. No, but no. When it comes to pink sauce, I want to know everything right now.
Yeah, it's like I have been sort of all right. I consider food like a hobby. I like cooking. I like trying out new recipes. And so kind of one of the few TikTok things I pay attention to is food talk. And food talk has been volcanic with pink sauce lately, but it's also hiding sort of like the delicious creamy center that is food entrepreneurship that is gonna fucking kill somebody. It's like this thing on TikTok where people are, and here's the thing, if you want to be an entrepreneur, sweet, love the energy, can relate, but food is kind of one of those places you can't just wing it.
Listeria, the sauce.
Yeah, and pink, in case you folks didn't know, pink sauce was this viral, I know that word is wildly abused, but this is really appropriate to call it viral. This viral sensation, that dipping sauce that is made by one woman on TikTok, and she was selling bottles of it through the mail. And when people got these bottles, like pure insanity ensued because the nutritional information was both misspelled and inaccurate and claimed it had 444 servings per bottle, shit like that. She would film herself making the pink sauce in her kitchen, and she would be using things like mayonnaise, for example, that did not show up on the ingredients label. She
And
was
the things
shipping
that
this
were in the ingredients label needed to be refrigerated.
exactly, and she was shipping these in just like cardboard boxes with no
No,
ice
no, no, no,
cup.
no. Originally, they were like like the bubble wrap parcel bags. Like they were
Yeah,
just the plain
not refrigerated.
envelope. Well, not just
Yeah,
not refrigerated, no structure. They were just like
yeah. People were getting their bottles
mailers.
burst or partially opened and just smelling of death. And then when like all of this was going on, she eventually had like a TikTok live where she was talking to people about everything, and she was, doing damage control like every
Honestly,
good
we are
piece.
not going to do this story justice. After we're done talking, do go
Mhm.
just look it up on YouTube. There's
Yeah,
so many people doing full dives on it.
on pink sauce, but like the thing that stuck with me was people who were chatting at her in her live were like, you need to be FDA compliant if you're going to sell food. Like those rules exist for a reason. And she said, why would the FDA care about me? I'm not making drugs.
That's not
And
what the FDA is for.
and
But
if you were on Twitter at the exact perfect moment, you would notice a trending topic that was F in FDA, because it was like 1,000 people all at once saying, "What the fuck do you think the F in FDA stands for?" It was fucking hilarious. But don't buy food on TikTok, please don't. Please don't.
nope.
Please don't. Someone's gonna fucking die. Like without hyperbole,
God,
if this keeps up,
the
someone's gonna die.
weirdest thing, and again, I don't mean to like talk about this shit, but that's weird. Some of the weirdest thing is like a lot of those weird food. You know the food TikToks that are just made to make people mad, where they have their weird
Yeah.
recipes and how there's like 5 or 6 different channels, but they like all tie back to this one magician guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun. Like I wish I had a good link for that, but like it's so. I think Drew Gooden did a video about it, but like
I love Drew.
it's oh yes, good boy.
Did you see? It's not Drew. It's one of Drew's friends.
Curtis or Danny?
Went to, maybe it's Curtis. It was one of them went to every Rainforest Cafe in the
Yes.
US.
Oh, that was fucking what's his face?
I don't remember his name, but
I
I
know
watched
his
that
fucking
entire
face.
goddamn video
Yeah.
while working.
It's on my watch list. It's on my watch later list when you. I literally have a playlist that's called "Watch Later When You Are Working."
Yeah, it's oh my! I saw that. Like they both kind of like filmed. Like there were two dudes who did it together, and they both kind of like filmed their own version. And I've watched both, and it is
Yeah.
it's
I
insanity.
Yes, that's the punch. Yes,
Uh,
that was the punch in the toilet people. They're all tied. They are all tied to this guy who used to do like shitty magic tricks on Facebook. It's so weird that that's the connecting thread.
Mm.
But so that guy who went to all the Rainforest cafes, he also watched Morbius.
His name is on the tip of my tongue, and it's
day.
driving me crazy.
He saw Morbius every day for a week.
Oh, I saw that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, there's only so much time you got on this planet, sir. Why did you do this to yourself?
Content.
Anyway,
Eddie Burback.
Yeah, someone at Comic-Con said to Matt Smith, "It's Morbin time."
And you
And
didn't get it,
Matt
I bet.
Smith said, "It's what?"
Oh
Like,
no,
and then he had to explain the Morbius meme to Matt Smith.
no, don't
Who's Matt
explain.
Smith?
He was one of the Doctor Who's, but he's the villain in
Oh, okay.
Morbius.
No
Which is
wonder I don't know this. I'm allergic to that.
he was the villain in Morbius, which is the important part of this story.
Mhm.
So someone said it's Morbin time to him, and he was like, What?" and had to have the meme explained to him.
Oh.
Uh, and it ends with, from that really good movie you were
Oh,
in.
no, don't fucking do that
Matt
to
Smith
people.
says, "I'm glad you enjoyed this movie, which seems to be a completely different movie than the one I saw."
Don't fucking, like, go to Comic-Con and do that to people. Don't fucking do that.
Anyway, now he's gonna be one of the Targaryens.
Is he?
Yes, he is in the prequel show that they're making.
Huh.
He's Daemon Targaryen. He's gonna fuck his niece. Uh, he's like the sexy bad boy Targaryen, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, I
It's
have
a
to
choice.
admit, I'm probably not gonna watch that.
I'll probably watch it. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
Because I fell down a rabbit hole of reading fan theories, which are far more entertaining than anything that actually came from the books or the show.
Mhm.
And so I want to know what they're talking about with their tinfoil hat fan theories to know how off the basis they are with their.
Yeah. I just
Uh, Spike, did you know that
Mm.
all the dragons are aliens?
The more I know, the more disappointed I am, and, the more is confirmed my decision to, like,
Kel,
check
what does
out.
that mean?
No,
No,
Spike,
no,
they're not really aliens. That's what
oh.
someone's dumb tinfoil fan
Oh,
theory
oh,
is.
okay, alright, okay,
Ah, now
alright.
I'm
No,
disappointed.
no, but here's the thing, though, like, that's an incredibly common trope. Surprise, this fantasy series is really a sci-fi series is incredibly common.
There's
So, I
so many people that want that to happen with A Song of Ice and Fire, and,
Mm.
like, even if it was true, like, that's not gonna happen in A Song of Ice and Fire if he ever actually finishes the story. That might be,
I've
like.
accepted it's not finished.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm okay with
uh,
it.
we talked about this where he loses interest in stories if he plans them out ahead of
Yeah.
time, and HBO made him plan it out, so now he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's okay, it's okay.
but the dumb fan theories are so entertaining because they're all out there.
Yeah.
Like, the dragons are all aliens, and the seasons are messed up in the Song of Ice and Fire world because there was an epic space battle that blew the planet out of orbit, and like,
Mm.
oh, they're so like, we've obsessed over every single word and we have no life.
Honestly, it's one of those things where whenever we discuss stuff like this, it makes me think of an interview I read, and I remember no details, but maybe someone else read the same interview, where a showrunner for one of these really popular cable shows admitted that he read subreddits and other fan forums and read all the theories and
Yeah,
had
that was a lot.
actually yeah, he had actually changed the series finale, like the final episode with the big the big reveal and the big cliffhanger. He actually changed it because someone had guessed.
That's so
And I remember thinking
stupid.
that's incredibly wrong-headed. That is the wrong reaction to someone
Mhm.
enjoying the show and paying enough attention to be able to suss out what they think is going to happen. Your
Yeah,
first impulse should be to reward that person by acknowledging, "Yes, good for you. You paid attention. This is what's gonna happen."
and that's
You
why
having fun
I
there,
told.
Amanda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh I and that's why I believe last time we talked about it, I brought up Avatar: Last Airbender and Zuko. The creators of that, when they saw everyone knew Zuko was going to go good,
Mhm.
um, they drew it out and made it take longer. Like they're like, well, now that because everyone knows we can take our sweet ass time because they know he's gonna get there. So
Yeah.
um, we get really deep into what motivates him to become good.
Yeah,
So
like, make it enjoyable, make it nice and, just validating for people's fan theories. It's
I
okay if somebody guesses where your story's going, the fun is getting there.
but also Spike Cthulhu's definitely gonna show up.
Oh
Um,
god.
in Song of Ice and Fire. That's the Greyjoy's whole plan is they're gonna summon Cthulhu. Um,
These are some Where are you reading this crap?
it's all on Reddit.
Of course. Oh god. I don't
Um,
even know if people are serious on there sometimes.
oh, there is a great YouTube video that was like the iceberg of Game of Thrones theories because there's like the ones that are plausible, the ones that are out there but are sincere, and then like the very bottom are like people reacting to the out there theories. My favorite of which is everyone killed Joffrey.
Everyone.
Because everyone has fan theories of like, well, like he started to choke after eating the pie, so maybe the wine wasn't poisoned and it was something like someone poisoned the pie, but he was eating Tyrion's pie, so maybe Cersei was trying to poison Tyrion and accidentally poisoned her own son. And it's a lot of theories like that. Or maybe Tywin tried to poison Joffrey because he knew Joffrey was gonna fuck everything up and stuff like that.
Amanda, just so you know, the gif you posted, the dancing roach,
Yeah, can you hear it?
there that video,
Yes, I knew.
there was
It's
a
a GIF you
while.
can hear.
Yeah, there was a while whenever I needed to, like, laugh so hard it gave me a headache, because sometimes that need arises in me, I would just go watch that fucking video.
It's very good. I wanted to
Yes!
post it because it's a GIF you can hear.
I would laugh so hard it sounded like I was in pain. It was I don't know why that video in particular, but it fucking got me so good.
Anyway, so basically, the Spike, the everyone killed Joffrey theory is that all those theories are simultaneously true. So everyone killed Joffrey at the same time.
Yes, everyone. It's like the
Yes,
worst game of Clue ever.
everyone killed Joffrey. My favorite of those is the Ned is a pigeon fan theory. Because since the Starks can are wargs, and wargs when they die can jump into animals. And pigeons flew by when Ned got beheaded, so he jumped into a pigeon by accident, and now he's a pigeon.
As one does.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. I forget the details, like, the 2 showrunners for Song of Ice and Fire, they clearly, like, quit early and truncated the series, but I forget for what.
oh, they were going to work on Star Wars, and
Ah,
then
okay.
Disney saw the end of Game of Thrones and said no.
Mhm. Okay.
So then they were
'Cause weren't
gonna
there
do
supposed to be, like, 2 more seasons at least?
uh George R. R. Martin wanted it to last 12 seasons.
And how many did it
HBO
end up asking lasting?
8, 8.
Oh. So, wow, yeah, okay.
And the last one was like half the length of the other seasons. So
Wow. Yeah.
and I feel like that was a mistake on HBO's part. They should have just gotten different showrunners
Oh, for sure. If I mean,
because
suppose they had to have had, like, the outline, so
yeah, because the thing is like um shows change showrunners all the time.
sure.
Like there's if they want to go do Star Wars, go let them do Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like
That was
and
a
then they
weird
would still
choice,
be
but maybe
passionate
I'm sure there are
about
complications no one is aware of. That is always the case, so
yeah. But now they know that those guys like so they were gonna do Star Wars. Um and then they got the rights to adapt a big Chinese sci-fi series. Um and then like everyone was like, "Wait, why are you letting these two dumb white guys adapt this very complicated Chinese sci-fi series, which isn't like it comes with a shit ton of footnotes to explain Chinese history that Americans are unaware of, like the English version.
Amanda,
Yeah.
Amanda, Kel needs a roach on each plate, I think.
Okay, I'll work on it.
But yeah,
Yeah.
this is reminiscent of this happened a while back, and I forget the details, but I remember enough to be horrified. Where they were going to do a whole like the South
Oh,
won the Civil War
yes, yes, that
show
was their other thing.
run by two white dudes, and I was like, I cannot think of anything I want to see less in this world.
Yeah, and that was sort of everyone's reaction. So that
Yeah,
was like the first project that got lost
yeah,
when the end of Game of Thrones was a disaster.
yeah.
Uh, and then the next thing is the finale. They lost that before the finale even aired because everyone
Good.
was, "Why would
But
you
I
do this?"
could not imagine anything like, oh my god, I would rather
and
watch
and
like PETA
also,
animal torture vids than that.
it's also like not only should two white guys not be the people in charge of that story in particular,
Hmm.
but also the two white guys who think themes are for 8th grade book reports.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
Ew.
so they're not even particularly smart white guys.
Or particularly culturally sensitive or intellectually inquisitive ones where it's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, that is like the last thing I want. And the thing is, it's not a new concept. The whole South won the Civil War is a cornerstone of American alt history fiction. And
Mhm.
it's shockingly, well, not shockingly, unsurprisingly easy to make utterly unreadable other to anyone other than, straight white dudes for whom it is a
According to
fun
chat,
little
they're still making it.
yeah. Oh god, I hope not. Straight white dudes who to them it's a fun intellectual exercise and not torture porn. It's just like it's literally
Yeah.
the last fucking thing I want to
You know
see.
what I would rather want to see a show about alt history wise? What
There's
if America actually followed through on the 40 acres and a mule promise? Like,
oh, that would be interesting, but the one I always think of, let me find this. This is actually a really popular one. I think
mhm,
I've talked about this on Twitter before. Uh there was a moment in the 80s or early 70s, I think, where there was a nuclear alert in a Russian bunker that America had launched 5 nuclear warheads at the Soviet Union. And the guy who was in charge of that bunker, he was an old hand at it. He had his hand on the phone where he could call up the line and authorize a retaliatory strike and thus make mutually assured destruction a thing. And
mhm,
he, however, had been in this bunker for a long time. He knew how, frankly, poor the equipment was and how prone to false positives it was. And he also had his head on his shoulders straight. So he knew it's like if America was really launching a fuck it, let's do this level nuclear strike at the USSR, they wouldn't be launching 5. They'd be launching
mhm.
hundreds. So, you know what? This is fake. Like bit from Anchorman, I don't believe you. Like that's kind of what he did. And, of course, obviously, as we all know, he was right. It was fake. But there is a very complex sort of group project alternate history like line out there about what if that dude had not come into work that day and they had given his position to like a fresh out of the academy sort of ready, like champing at the bit, ready for war, shithead little 18-year-old or something. And they had put
Yeah.
him in the bunker that day. And when he saw those 5 nukes, air quotes, streaking across the Atlantic towards the Soviet Union, towards Moscow, if he had grabbed the phone and screamed, World War III has begun, launch the retaliatory strike. And the knock on from that is kind of really fascinating to watch because everybody launches all their nukes all at once because nobody can figure out what's going
I
on.
feel like there's been
And
multiple books, not about that scenario, but about the fallout from
yeah,
basically
that is
that.
his name, Sidunker. Thank you. Stanislav Petrov. If you want to, like, this is not
Hmm.
even exaggeration. If you folks want to just Google Stanislav Petrov, he was a lieutenant colonel in the Soviet Air Defense Forces, and this happened in 1983. The 1983 nuclear strike false alarm, and there's a whole wiki documenting everyone's sort of collective ideas of how the world would be now. It's really fun to read.
That would be fun to read, but I feel like the end of the day, the answer is nuclear war and everyone dies.
But the thing is, it wouldn't be that simple because nuclear war kind of has already happened, just not mutual nuclear war. Things would be horrible, but humanity would still persist. And that's what that thing is about, like kind of in what state humanity persists in. And not to bring it up again, but I'm sorry, I fucking love the series. There is a series called The Age of Unreason, which talks about a meteor strike directly on London. Or rather, not meteor, excuse me. I misspoke. Halley's Comet, through alchemical powers given to Louis XIV by a literal fucking angel. Long story, gotta read the series. Halley's Comet is brought down literally on London, like right on top of it. And of course, it's catastrophic for the entire globe. But people still persevere. Like they're still there. And it's a really fun, awesome read, especially because it completely changes the state of North America. Because with London, a literal fucking parking lot, like a glass hole, the colonies don't have to declare independence anymore because there's nothing to declare independence from. And also, like the Louisiana Purchase, what Americans think of as like the Louisiana Purchase, kind of doesn't go through because the world is just insane and crazy. And
because it's also like they needed money for a war with England, and if they're not having a war with England,
exactly.
We have someone
for you.
I'm already on it. I'm already on it.
Thank you, ma'am. But yeah, it's, and like a big sort of subplot in the series is a dude just shows up and claims to be the last living member of the French royal line, and what we think of as the Louisiana Purchase is now the French Empire. Like this is now France, because France, for folks who don't know, pretty fucking close to England. And if Halley's Comet comes down on London, France is going to feel it, and it has, and all of that has collapsed. So it just, everything is a total nightmare zone, but like people are still there, people are still living and, you know, persisting, and it's just a really good series.
A thing that I thought was interesting was Nick Dragato's comic East of West is basically cult nonsense interrupted the Civil War. So it never ended, it just kept going and going and going and going. So what we think, and then the actual comic takes place in the future. So what we think of as the United States is actually, I think, 7 countries, because there's the United States of America, which would basically be the northern half of the Civil War. There is the Confederate States of America, which would be the South. And then what we think of the Louisiana Purchase, basically runaway slaves and free black people took over a lot of that and made their own nation. And then there's the nation of Texas is its own nation.
Very ripped from the pages of history.
And then because what we think of as the United States was so busy entrenched with the Civil War, China colonized the West Coast. So New China is also a nation. And then what we think of as like the upper Midwest, basically what was left of the Native Americans is they all band together in that sort of area and managed to defend themselves because the white people were busy fighting each other.
Yeah, so alternate history can get super fun.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting sort of landscape.
Alternate history, like Spike's webcomic that she won't let you read.
Yeah, because it's hideous.
Well, I like that was alternate history, but combined with sci-fi because it's the future, but it's not our future. It's this alternate history's
Yeah.
future.
Real talk though, like this is off topic, but I am
There's
at
a
that
topic?
I am at that phase right now in the production of the webcomic I'm currently making where I can no longer look at the first few pages because
Oh my
if I sit
god,
there and
Spike.
really look at them, I'll want to go back and redo them. And I understand this impulse in myself. So I literally just don't look at like the first 15 pages of Blacata anymore. Because if I
Man,
look
I don't know how to be
because
like that because I look at my first few pages of most of my comics these days and I go, I'm so glad they're done.
oh
And I
no,
don't
I
have to
can't.
draw them again.
I'm literally the comic that I'm doing right now. I anticipate it being several hundred pages, and I am already dreading having to collect it for publication because that means people will have to look at the first 15 pages, and they're not even a year old.
I thought you were making this without a goal in mind.
It's a very nebulous kind of soft,
Then who
fluffy goal.
cares? Stop it.
I know, I know.
Stop
I
it.
tell myself that, like, stop caring. No one gives a shit, but I can't
Spike,
stop caring.
Spike, don't don't redraw. That's the way in
I
which
won't.
madness
No,
lies.
what
As someone who redrew the first 450 pages of a comic, don't. That's
Yeah.
my
madness.
also my advice to you is what would you be doing if an artist you like was saying this?
Yeah, I know, right? I'd be like, shut up, just make new
Like if
stuff.
I
No
was
one
saying this about
cares.
Starry Night,
Yeah, I'd be
what
like,
would
knock it off. Make new pages.
exactly?
Absolutely. Also, Untitled Project, uh, good fucking luck because part of the reason that comic is black and white, I originally was going to make it painterly, like just Euro comic style painterly. I don't know what color those people are. I tried and
Well, yeah,
tried and
then you leave it up to other people. That's their
I don't
problem to
fucking
figure
know
out.
what color they are.
That's their problem to figure out,
They're
not
elves,
yours.
so they're clearly green.
Yeah,
Honestly, you want to know something? Okay.
make them
There
purple.
I couldn't. Here's the thing that lost, and you're gonna immediately know why it lost when I mention it. Uh, there was a case called the Blue Fugates of I think Cripple Creek, uh, and it was people who had a rare genetic disorder where they would have been white people, but because of a quirk in their blood cells, they were blue. Not Smurf blue, but blue enough.
Like colloidal silver blue.
Exactly. Like that one politician who took a shitload of colloidal silver. They were so blue, they were embarrassed by it and didn't go in public. Like that's, and it's because they were like an inbred, kind of hillbilly-ish family. And they were the Blue Fugates. And for a while there, I was considering making them that shade of blue, not like, fucking sky blue, but bluish. But I did not do that because the blue alien thing got took.
What?
And I don't. There are much better known blue aliens
I
right now.
don't know any.
The Avatar cat people.
Yeah,
Those aren't aliens. Those are just
those are literally
those are personas.
those are
Those are not
literally
aliens. They are not.
They can be both.
I'm just saying, like that. When I think, ooh, space aliens, I do not think of those aliens. Those.
Yeah,
No one thinks of those.
So it's like now what I'm kind of thinking is like, I just like
Methemoglobinemia, apparently.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Methylglobemia is what it's called when your blood cells.
According to chat,
This,
I got that from chat.
Yeah, they got this weird "what the fuck are you doing" element that makes them bluish. And hey, fun thing, the cure for this, because it's a manageable condition and you can turn a more standard skin color, is you have to take methylene blue, like the shit they put in fish tanks. Taking methylene blue when you are blue makes you not blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Yeah, so if you end up with the rare skin condition that makes you blue, everyone, the answer is to just chug fish tank stuff, methylene blue. And it has been 2 hours, folks.
I was gonna see how long we were gonna go.
Yeah, I think I can keep going because I have a page to finish.
I would like to work on my comic
I'm all
so I have an
hopped
update
up
for Friday. I want to do an update for
I'm all
Friday.
hopped up.
Work on your comic while we're chatting. Like
I
I
literally can't. You know that.
Hey, Kel.
Yeah.
What if I go play Minecraft and you and me voice chat?
How about that?
You can
guys
keep
can take the
streaming,
part. Yeah,
and I can keep streaming.
Amanda just fucking she's just necks an entire beer and then smashes the bottle on my floor and screams, "This party sucks anyway. Let's back to my place."
I can't drink.
This party fucking sucks. And then she flips off my dog.
I would never flip off your dog.
Kicks the door.
You know it only takes a thimble of anything alcoholic to put me on my ass.
And then you're like Peter Griffin dead, like just with the arm behind you, lying on the floor.
I thought people don't understand. Friends don't understand when I say I can't go out drinking with them. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay if you're a lightweight. Like, you don't understand. For me being a lightweight, if I drink a little alcohol, I go to sleep. I don't get drunk. I just go to sleep.
Drinking just makes me sleepy.
I do not know what drinking does to me. I have never found out.
It makes me sleepy or have to pee, and that's it.
Now, if I drink on a full stomach, appropriate amount, I can have a good time. But the moment I get tipsy or drunk, I just go to sleep now. Bye. Good night.
Well, bye. Good.
Is this a place I can sleep? Too bad, I'm sleeping here.
Well, it is bye good night time for me.
Okay, then.
I really want to update my comic tomorrow, and
I want to play Minecraft.
Okay, so we're gonna close it out, and folks, stick around. I'm sure Amanda and Kel will tell you where you can find them after the Geek Show closes down.
Yeah, well, I'll be on my Twitch.
Yeah, Kel's just gonna keep going, and I'm just gonna start up my Twitch, and then we're just gonna yell at each other.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you. You can find me at @iron_spike on Twitter. That's kind of where I always am. You can
need to update your pinned tweet.
I do, especially since I've joined all these little itsy bitsy sites now, and I literally can't even track up them myself. But you can find me at @iron_spike. You can find my company, Iron Circus Comics, the Eisner-winning biggest publisher in the American Midwest of alternative comics, at Iron Circus Comics, with comics spelled COMIX, because it won't fit any other way, on Twitter. Follow me at @iron_spike for the 200% raw, undiluted Spike experience. But if you just want art and comic updates, please, thank you, just follow Iron Circus Comics, COMIX, on Twitter. We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
You can find me at kelmcdonald.com, where all of my comics are located, including my comic The City Between, about gay werewolves in the future, which I am drawing on my twitch.tv/kelmcdonald right now. I also do a comic that I post on my Patreon, which is patreon.com/kelmcdonald. That is called You Are the Chosen One, and it is about 23 kids that got the same prophecy dream telling them they're the chosen one. And you should back my Patreon and go read it. I'm on Twitter as Kelhound, which is spelled like Hellhound with a K. And that's it.
I'm Amanda. You can find my Twitter under my name. It links to all my stuff. I would like to apologize if I was really hyper during this stream, because I am really hyper.
Stop apologizing for stuff!
I just don't know. It's polite.
Don't do anything wrong.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just apologizing if I was too hyper. I sat here, honest to God, there's a giant pile of paper in front of me. I ripped up an entire instruction manual the whole time we've been talking.
I'm going to actually come to your house and cover it in toilet paper like a 13-year-old.
It's not my house. Go for it. I want to see you fight my mom. I would pay good money to see you fight my mom.
Oh my God.
I don't honestly know who would win.
I just lie on the ground and cry while she kicked me.
I mean, probably. That's a likely outcome.
But yeah.
Pay-per-view tickets. Watch Fight My Mom.
Please follow us on YouTube so you can get alerts every time we go live. If you liked what you heard tonight, please thumbs up and give us a like. And thank you so much, everyone.
Like and subscribe. Ring that bell.
Like and subscribe and hit that bell.
I'm gonna let the dancing, singing cockroach play us out.
No, it's more like
it's playing now.
Okay, thank you, everybody.